What would you do if your entire life turned out to be a lie? Could you handle the truth if the person you love had a secret that could destroy everything? In this true crime case, we reveal the horrifying story of a husband who discovers a shocking truth about his wife, one that ends in a brutal, grisly murder. In Cleveland, Ohio, a newlywed husband uncovered a secret so dark, so devastating, that it led to one of the most gruesome crimes the city had ever seen. This isn't just a story about a hidden past or broken trust. It's about a marriage that spiraled into pure horror, shocking even the most hardened detectives. From the outside, Darnell Watson and Tasha Miller appeared to be the picture-perfect couple. Their love story seemed straight out of a romance novel, the kind that friends envy and strangers admire. Both Darnell and Tasha were African Americans, born and raised in Cleveland. They first met at a local charity event organized by their church, an event that Darnell had volunteered for out of his dedication to community service. Darnell, a tall and athletic 33-year-old electrician, was known for his unwavering commitment to family and work. Raised in a conservative household, he grew up with strong values and took pride in being a provider. Friends often joked that Darnell was the guy who would take care of everyone before thinking of himself. Tasha, on the other hand, was a strikingly beautiful 29-year-old hairstylist, making waves in the local beauty scene. With her glowing caramel complexion, captivating smile, and warm personality, she quickly won people over. Darnell was no exception. He fell for her hard and fast, enchanted by her charisma and charm. Their chemistry was palpable, and within months, Tasha was attending every family gathering by Darnell's side, effortlessly winning over his relatives with her infectious laughter. Darnell's family embraced her as one of their own, and it wasn't long before he proposed, a moment filled with tears of joy and promises of forever. Their wedding was a grand affair at St. Anthony's Church, a day filled with love and celebration. Friends and family crowded the pews, their eyes filled with tears of happiness as Darnell and Tasha exchanged vows, pledging to love each other in sickness and in health, for better or for worse. Darnell's mother, a devout woman, beamed with pride as she watched her son take the hand of the woman he loved. However, even as they said their vows, Darnell couldn't shake a feeling that something wasn't quite right. On their honeymoon in Cancun, as they walked hand in hand along the sandy beach, the unease continued. Tasha seemed distant, her thoughts wandering during quiet moments. She often gazed at the ocean, her expression unreadable, and whenever Darnell asked if something was wrong, she brushed it off with a reassuring smile, leaving him more confused than comforted. They spent their days exploring the vibrant culture and soaking up the sun, but as the nights rolled in, Darnell felt a chasm growing between them. On one particularly romantic evening, while they dined under a canopy of stars, Darnell tried to engage Tasha in light-hearted conversation, sharing laughter over their shared memories. Yet, Tasha's laughter felt forced, and her eyes often drifted toward the ocean, as if she were searching for something lost. He noticed her phone buzzing repeatedly on the table, yet she ignored it, her fingers trembling slightly. Darnell reached out, touched her hand, and said, "You can talk to me about anything. I want us to be open." But she merely smiled, her gaze distant, leaving him feeling more isolated. Life moved forward after the honeymoon, but Darnell started noticing subtle changes in Tasha's behavior. She became secretive, often locking her phone and disappearing for hours without explanation. His heart raced with anxiety every time she slipped away, leaving him alone with his thoughts. On several occasions, Darnell tried to surprise her with dinner plans, only to find her unaccounted for, her excuses growing increasingly thin. The gnawing feeling in his gut intensified, and he found himself replaying moments of their courtship in his mind, questioning whether he had truly known her at all. One evening, He attempted to broach the topic, sitting across from her at their modest kitchen table. Tasha, you've been acting different lately. Is there something you want to talk about? The question hung in the air like a dark cloud, and for a moment, she looked as if she might burst into tears. Instead, she forced a smile, brushing her hair behind her ear. I'm just tired, Darnell. It's been a hectic few weeks. He could see the shadows under her eyes, but he wanted to believe her, choosing to ignore the instinctual alarms ringing in his mind. Then came the fateful night that changed everything. Tasha had told Darnell she was going out with friends for a girls' night. But as the hours stretched on and she didn't return, he felt an overwhelming sense of dread. Unable to contain his worry, he searched through her belongings, desperate for answers. In the back of her closet, he found a box covered in dust, hidden away as if it contained the weight of the world. As he opened it, a cascade of documents spilled out, each one more shocking than the last. Among them was a birth certificate, one that bore a name he didn't recognize: Terrence Miller. Confused and horrified, he dug deeper and uncovered medical records revealing that Tasha had transitioned from male to female years before they met. She had never told him. The revelation left Darnell reeling. He felt betrayed, as though his entire marriage had been a lie. His heart raced as he staggered back, the papers crumpling in his fists. He struggled to process the magnitude of what he had uncovered. The woman he loved, the woman he had promised his life to, was not who she had claimed to be. A flood of emotions crashed over him: anger, confusion, and a deep sense of betrayal that twisted like a knife in his chest. When Tasha returned home that night, she found Darnell sitting on the bed, holding the documents in his trembling hands. The room felt suffocatingly tense, the air thick with unspoken words. Darnell's voice was cold and low, filled with rage as he confronted her. "You lied to me," he said, barely containing his fury. Tasha, her face drained of color, stood frozen at the door, her heart racing. She had always feared this moment, but she never imagined it would happen like this. "I was going to tell you, I swear, but I didn't know how, and I was scared of losing you," she pleaded, her voice breaking as tears streamed down her cheeks. But Darnell was beyond reason. The shock and betrayal were too much for him. "You tricked me into marrying you," he shouted, his voice rising with each word. The anger radiating from him felt like a palpable force, and Tasha's tears did nothing to calm him. Her pleas for understanding fell on deaf ears, drowned out by his overwhelming rage. In a blind fit of fury, Darnell stormed into the garage and grabbed a hammer, a tool meant for building, now turned into an instrument of destruction. Without hesitation, he returned to the bedroom, his mind clouded with anger and confusion. He attacked Tasha with brutal force, each strike fueled by a mixture of betrayal and hurt. Her screams echoed through the house, but Darnell's fury was unstoppable, drowning out her cries for mercy. He struck her again and again. The walls soon splattered with blood as the horror unfolded. The scene became a grotesque tableau, a twisted reflection of the love they once shared. With each swing, Darnell's mind raced through memories of their happiest moments. Dancing at their wedding, laughter shared over dinner, the plans they had for the future. But those memories twisted into nightmares as he continued to unleash his rage. He could feel the life draining from Tasha with each brutal blow, yet the fury propelled him, drowning out any sense of remorse or recognition. He had become a monster, a shell of the man who had vowed to love and protect her. By the time the police arrived, Tasha was dead, her body unrecognizable from the savage assault. The officers found Darnell sitting in shock, covered in blood, his hands trembling as he stared blankly at the wall, unable to process what he had done. He was a man trapped in a nightmare of his own making, a crime of passion that shattered not just a life but a community. When the police pulled him from the scene, he whispered, "I killed her," his voice hollow and broken, as if the weight of his actions had stripped him of his very essence. The news of the murder sent shockwaves through the Cleveland community. Neighbors, once envious of the couple's apparent happiness, now stood in disbelief as the news spread. Darnell's friends, who had celebrated his marriage just months prior, were left grappling with the unimaginable. How could love turn so violently into hate? The community mourned the loss of Tasha Miller, a vibrant soul who had touched many lives. She had dreams of opening her own salon and had been an advocate for beauty and self.